I worked the front desk at a boutique hotel in Copenhagen for 3 years. One afternoon, an American couple checked in. The husband asked where the gym was. I told him 3rd floor. He stared at me. That's it. I nodded. He waited. I smiled. He looked confused. You're not gonna, sell me on it? I explained we just have a gym. He seemed offended. In America, you'd tell me about the equipment, the view, the hours. I said the hours were on the door. He shook his head. This is why Europe has no customer service. His wife asked about restaurants. I handed her a neighborhood map with my favorites marked. She looked disappointed. You're not gonna describe them? I said they were all good. She frowned. In Dallas, people actually help you decide. I told her she couldn't go wrong. She whispered to her husband that I was being cold. I was genuinely trying to be helpful. They left a review saying I was weirdly distant. I'd given them everything they asked for. A Swedish colleague had an American ask why she wasn't bubbly. She was smiling and efficient. He said, "You seem annoyed." She wasn't. He needed her to perform happiness. Another American at a cafe asked our barista why he looked so serious. He was making coffee. She said, "Smile. It's a beautiful day." He said, "It's raining." She said that wasn't the point. The pattern became obvious. Americans mistake calm professionalism for hostility. They need constant emotional validation. Silence feels like rejection. Efficiency reads as rudeness. They can't distinguish between helpful and enthusiastic. My friend managed a car rental office in Amsterdam. An American picked up his vehicle. She explained the insurance, handed him keys, and said, "Safe travels." He didn't leave. He stood there. She asked if he needed something. He said no. He still didn't leave. Finally, he asked, "Is everything okay?" She said yes. He said, "You seem upset." She wasn't. He insisted something was wrong. She promised nothing was wrong. He said, "In the States people are friendlier." She explained she'd been friendly. He said, "You didn't ask about my trip." She said that wasn't part of the rental process. He said, "Exactly. You don't care." He wanted her to perform interest in his vacation. She'd been perfectly polite. He left convinced she hated him. She'd just been Dutch. I worked a summer at a pharmacy in Oslo. An American tourist needed antihistamines. I asked his symptoms. He described them. I recommended a brand. I rang him up. Transaction done. He looked hurt. That's it. I asked what else he needed. He said, "I don't know, maybe ask how I'm doing?" I said I had asked about his symptoms. He said, "Not medically. Like, as a person." I explained I didn't know him. He said that was the problem with Europe. Everyone's so transactional. I'd given him exactly what he came for. He wanted me to bond with him over his allergies. He told the next customer I was rude. I'd said maybe 15 words total. All of them helpful. A German colleague sold train tickets in Munich. An American asked about routes to Salzburg. She showed him options. He asked which was best. She said it depended on his priorities. He wanted her to decide for him. She explained the trade-off. He got frustrated. "Just tell me what to do." She said she couldn't know his preferences. He raised his voice. "I'm asking for your expert opinion." She said both trains were good. He demanded to speak to someone more helpful. Her manager said the exact same thing. The American said Germans were impossible to talk to. He wanted someone to make decisions for him, then validate those decisions, then enthusiastically reassure him. She'd given him information. That wasn't enough. My sister worked at a tourist information center in Vienna. An American woman walked in asking about day trip. My sister handed her brochures for Salzburg, Hallstatt, and the Wachau Valley. She laid them out neatly, pointed to maps, and explained travel times. The woman stared at the brochures. Which one should I do? My sister said it depended on her interest. The woman's face fell. You work here. You must have an opinion. My sister explained that Salzburg had Mozart history, Hallstatt was scenic, and Wachau had wineries. The woman cut her off. I know what they are. I'm asking what you think. My sister said they were all worthwhile. The woman's voice got sharp. Are you even Austrian? My sister was born in Vienna. The woman said, Then why won't you help me? My sister had been helping for 10 minutes. The woman wanted my sister to care about her vacation as much as she did. She wanted investment, not information. She left saying the tourist office was useless. My sister had given her 3 excellent options with detailed logistics. The woman needed someone to get excited with her. My cousin works at a museum in Prague. An American couple took a tour. The guide was knowledgeable, thorough, clear. Afterward, the husband complained. He didn't seem passionate. My cousin asked what he meant. He was so monotone, like he didn't even care about the art. The guide had a PhD in art history. He cared deeply. He just wasn't performing that care. The wife agreed. In America, tour guides make it fun. My cousin explained that Czech communication style was different. The husband said, It's not a style, it's boring. They wanted enthusiasm, not expertise. They needed emotional labor, not information. The guide had shared decades of knowledge. They wanted a show. I waited tables briefly in Stockholm. An American family ordered. I took their orders efficiently. The father stopped me. You didn't tell us about the specials. We didn't have specials. He looked suspicious. Every restaurant has specials. I promised we didn't. He said, Then what do you recommend? I said everything was good. He pressed me. But what's your favorite? I don't eat meat. Most of our menu was meat. I told him that. He said, So you don't even like the food here? I explained I just had dietary restrictions. He told his wife I was being difficult. I brought their food. It was correct and prompt. He left a small tip. In the comments, he wrote that I clearly hated my job. I was fine with my job. I just wasn't performing joy about schnitzel. A friend worked the front desk at a gym in Helsinki. An American signed up for a membership. She processed the paperwork. He asked about classes. She gave him the schedule. He asked which classes were popular. She said yoga and spin. He waited for more. She waited to see if he had questions. He said, You're not gonna, hype them up? She asked what he meant. He said, Tell me why they're great, what makes them special. She said they were regular yoga and spin classes. He seemed offended. Don't you want me to actually go? She said that was up to him. He said Americans actually try to engage members. She'd given him all the information. He wanted her to be his personal motivational speaker. My brother drives a taxi in Brussels. An American couple got in heading to the Grand Place. He confirmed the destination and started driving. The husband leaned forward. So what's good around here? My brother said the Grand Place was beautiful. The husband waited. And my brother said there were cafes and chocolate shop. The husband seemed annoyed. You're not much of a tour guide. My brother said he was a taxi driver. The wife jumped in. In New York, cabbies tell you stories. My brother said this was Brussels. The husband said, Yeah, we noticed. Nobody talks here. They'd been in his taxi for 4 minutes. He'd answered their question. They wanted him to entertain them. The husband asked about restaurants. My brother named 3. The husband asked which was best. My brother said they were all good. The husband muttered to his wife about European service. They wanted recommendations and enthusiasm and personal investment. My brother was driving them safely to their destination. That wasn't enough. I worked at a bike rental shop in Copenhagen. An American rented a bike for the day. I adjusted the seat, checked the brakes, and showed him the lock. He asked about bike routes. I gave him a map with lanes marked. He studied it. Where should I go? I said the harbor route was popular. He asked what else. I mentioned the parks and the canal. He looked frustrated. Dude, just tell me the best route. I said it depended on what he wanted to see. He said, I want to see Copenhagen. I explained the different neighborhoods. He cut me off. Why is this so hard? Just give me one route. I pointed to the harbor loop. He said, why that one? I said it covered a lot of ground. He said, you don't sound excited about it. I told him it was a nice route. He said, fine, like I disappointed him. He returned the bike early. Said Copenhagen wasn't friendly. I'd given him a bike, a map, and suggestions. He needed me to make his decisions and celebrate them. A colleague worked at a chocolate shop in Bruges. An American woman came in. She asked for recommendations. My colleague showed her the bestsellers. The woman tried 3 samples. She asked which my colleague liked best. My colleague said the dark chocolate with sea salt. The woman bought the pralines instead. Then she asked, are you sure these are good? My colleague said yes. The woman said, you don't seem sure. My colleague had been certain. She just wasn't gushing. The woman asked if Belgians even liked chocolate. My colleague is Belgian. Her family makes chocolate. The woman said, you just seem so blank about it. My colleague explained that Belgians don't get dramatic about chocolate. It's just good chocolate. The woman looked offended. In America, we appreciate things. My colleague had been appreciating it her whole life. She just wasn't performing that appreciation for a stranger. My roommate worked at a hotel in Lisbon. An American checked in and asked about nightlife. She told him about Barro Alto and gave him a neighborhood guide. He asked what time places got busy. She said after midnight. He asked where she went. She said she didn't go out much. He said, then how do you know it's good? She said she'd lived there for 6 years. He said, but you've never been? She'd been plenty of times in college. He said, so you don't actually know the current scene. She gave him current recommendations. He said, you could at least pretend to be interested in helping. She was helping. She just wasn't matching his energy level. He wanted her to be excited about his night out. She'd given him accurate information. That should have been enough. I worked at a bookstore in Reykjavik. An American asked for Nordic mystery recommendations. I showed him our section. He picked up 3 books. Which one should I get? I said they were all excellent. He put them down. You haven't read them? I'd read all 3. He asked which was my favorite. I said it depended on what he liked. He got frustrated. I'm asking your opinion. I explained the first was atmospheric, the second was plot-driven, the third had complex characters. He cut me off. Just tell me which one you liked best. I said the third. He bought the first. Then he asked why I didn't sell him on it. I explained I'd recommended the third. He said, yeah, but you didn't make me excited about it. I'd given him detailed analysis. He wanted enthusiasm. He came back 2 days later. Said the first book was slow. Asked why I didn't warn him. I had described it as atmospheric. He said, you should have told me it was boring. I'd given him the information to make that assessment. He wanted me to make it for him, then validate it, then take responsibility for it. Americans treat every interaction like it needs an emotional arc. Cashiers must be bubbly. Ticket agents must be passionate. Strangers must care about their problems. They mistake efficiency for coldness. They confuse information with hostility. Silence feels like rejection. They can't just exist in a transaction, they need the transaction to validate them as people. The rest of the world hasn't failed at communication. We've just skipped the performance. We answer questions. We provide service. We help genuinely. We just don't smile while doing it like we're auditioning for a commercial. That's not rudeness. That's just reality. But Americans mistake calm for contempt. They need everyone around them to prove they care. Not through actions, through enthusiasm. And when they don't get it, they assume something's wrong. The problem isn't that we're cold. It's that they need everything to be warm.